Hello, and welcome to T-Level Tactics, and this video for Root Core 2 Culture of the T-Level Digital Support Services course. And in this video, we're going to be focusing on digital identity and privacy. So we'll define what a digital identity is, we'll explain the ways we leave a digital footprint of our actions, and we'll also analyse how our use of technology has impacted on personal privacy. Before we get started, T-Level Tactics videos are not endorsed or sponsored by any education institution or qualification awarding body. And these videos should not be used as a replacement to any classroom learning you might be receiving, as the discussion and practical activities with your peers and lecturer will help to expand your thinking and comprehension. These materials are best used as preparation material or revision to reinforce any learning. And these videos cover the same content and knowledge required for Root Core 2 of the T-Level Digital Business Services course. However, they will be more contextualized towards IT support roles. Let's start by looking at identity. What is our identity? How is it created? Is it facts about us? Is it what we do? Is it what we look like? Our identity is everything that makes us unique. Part of it is factual information about us, such as name, date of birth, nationality, gender, and things like our height, eye colour, hair colour, things like that. And part of it is how we've grown, and in our environment, things like family values, friends, language, religion, community, finances. And identity is also about the values we hold, and the roles we fill in society, such as being a student, a doctor, or a teacher, for instance. Now, while some people may share these traits with you, it's unlikely that two people will share every trait and the same experiences. And this makes every individual unique. So what's digital identity? Well, think about what you do online, what apps and social media you use. Digital identity has some similarities to your own personal identity. It often includes some factual information, such as your name, date of birth, and address. But it can also include email addresses, aliases and usernames, passwords, content you upload and interact with, and your browsing and search history, as well as any online transactions you've made. Your digital identity refers to the online representation of you. It encompasses the various attributes, characteristics, and information that's associated with you in the digital space. Businesses and organizations will use this digital identity to track your habits and actions online, and mainly to help them target advertisements towards you to sell products. Even if you don't have a registered user account for a website, businesses and organizations can still create a shadow profile of you based on what limited data they can collect. It's also important to note that someone's digital identity may not be entirely as it appears. For example, on social media, people may only post what they want others to see, often only the positive things about them. And this can mislead people as to what that person is actually like or what their life experiences are. This is known as a curated identity. But curating your digital identity is important, as employers are more frequently looking to social media to vet candidates for job roles, so make sure that you know what is online about you. So, if you're a Patreon member, it's time to download the task sheet from patreon.com/T-Level-Tactics. And if you're not a member yet, I suggest you head over there to take a look, as there's lots of exclusive content available for you. Once you've got the task sheet, have a go at the first task, all about digital ID. It will take about 20 minutes, so I suggest you pause the video here, have a go at that, and then come back when you're ready to move on to part 2. Let's have a look at digital footprints. Everything we do online can contribute to our digital identity. The posts we create, comments we make, websites we visit, things we buy, they all leave something called a digital footprint, which is a trail of things that we've done online. And these footprints can last indefinitely, remaining accessible long after the data was originally created. There are two different types of digital footprints: your active footprint and also a passive footprint. Active footprints consist of data that you intentionally share online. You usually have more control over what's shared as you choose the content and the context of your contribution. For example, things like social media updates, including photos and status updates, blog posts and articles that you've submitted, comments on forums or news articles, and online purchases and transactions where your personal information is provided to an organization. Your passive footprint is any data created and collected without your explicit consent or knowledge. It's often created as a byproduct of your online activities. You often have less control over what data is collected and how it's used. Some examples of this might be your browsing history and search queries tracked by web browsers. It could be location data collected through GPS or IP addresses. It can come in the form of cookies and tracking pixels used by websites to monitor user behavior, and analytics data collected by websites to understand user engagement. Businesses will track users for various reasons. We've already mentioned about targeted advertising. But what other reasons do they have to collect such enormous amounts of information about users? And how does it benefit them? Well, that's what Task 2 is all about on the task sheet for Patreon members. So if you have got the task sheet and you're a member of the Patreon, first of all, thank you, but head back there now and have a go at that second task. This one will take about 30 minutes to complete. So pause the video here, have a go at Task 2, and then come back when you're ready to take a look at Part 3 of the video. Let's think about privacy. With so much data being stored about our digital identity, we often don't realize exactly what or how much data we share. Besides digital footprints and advertising profiles, there are other ways that digital technologies have impacted our personal privacy. It's not just the types of data collected about us, it's also where that data is sourced from. The Internet of Things and ubiquitous connected computing means data is constantly collected from smartphones, smart home devices, and wearable technologies. And facial recognition technologies are also often used, without our knowledge, to track movements by both governments and businesses. Sharing on social media has become very much normalized. People may share sensitive personal information without thinking, and they may share sensitive information about others without their consent. And while privacy settings do exist on social media platforms, many users are often unaware of, or they don't fully utilize these privacy settings, leading to unintentional exposure of personal information. There's also the erosion of anonymity. Technologies such as public surveillance cameras and location tracking apps reduce the ability to remain anonymous in public. Laws such as GDPR allow residents in the European Union the opportunity to reduce how much passive data is collected about them online. But huge amounts of data are still collected and aggregated between different sources. Not all of this data is stored securely. Sometimes data is unprotected or disclosed by mistake. And sometimes criminals will try to gain unauthorized access to that data. High-profile data breaches will expose personal information of millions of people, highlighting vulnerabilities in data security practices. And the fallout from this can include identity theft, financial loss, and long-term damage to personal reputation. If you want to find out if you've been affected by a data breach, you could use a website like haveibeenbreached.com. You can put your email address in and it will tell you if it finds it in any known data breaches. If it does, you might want to think about changing some passwords. And there are always new technologies, things like artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things. New privacy challenges are always going to arrive with these technologies. We're already seeing how artificial intelligence can be used to impersonate people's personalities in online chats, and using images, videos, and audio recordings. Emphasizing the importance of proactive measures such as encryption and data minimization can help individuals and organizations to safeguard privacy in an increasingly digital world. So is it all worth it? The convenience offered by technology often comes at the cost of personal privacy, as users trade data for services. Many of these services we perceive as being free, but the actual cost to us is the data that we give away to businesses. If you knew exactly what data was being collected on you, do you think you would still willingly give it away for what you receive in return? So how do we improve privacy? Well, users need to be encouraged to make informed choices about technologies they use and what data is given in exchange for services. All users need education on personal privacy and how you can take control of the data organizations have about you. Make good use of GDPR, freedom of information and data protection laws. They're there for you after all. And protecting personal privacy is a collective responsibility. It involves individuals, companies, and policymakers working together to create a safer digital environment. So that's a bit of an overview about privacy concerns. If you're a Patreon member, that's what Task 3 is going to be all about. So head back to the task sheet and have a go at that third task. This one's going to take a little bit longer, about 30 to 45 minutes. So pause the video here, have a go at Task 3, and then when you come back, we'll carry on and finish things off with an exam question. So, in this video, we've defined what a digital identity is, we've explained the ways we leave digital footprints online, and we've also analysed how our use of technology has impacted on personal privacy. Here's an exam-style question to test you. Explain how digital technologies facilitate the collection of personal data and the implications of this for individual privacy. There are 6 marks available. You could either make 6 short points, or you could make 3 points and explain them really well. And that brings us to the end of the video. In the next video, we'll be looking at communications and how communication technology has changed over time. So make sure you're subscribed at youtube.com/@tleveltactics. And if you haven't joined the Patreon yet, head over to patreon.com/tleveltactics and join us for exclusive content, things like our podcast editions, where you can listen to this content on the go. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.